From Lochmaddy and the Outer Hebrides, we took venture to the remote island group of St Kilda, 40 miles out in the North Atlantic. Storm clouds gathered as we passed through the Sound of Lewis. Once through the Sound, we lost the protection of the islands and faced the open ocean. The next piece of land beyond St Kilda was Newfoundland. Village Bay on the island of Herta is the only reasonably secure anchorage, and then only under certain conditions. It is untenable with winds from the south and east. It is believed that the island has been inhabited for at least 2,000 years. Some say 4,000, and it was only as recently as 1930 that the remaining 30 islanders were evacuated at their own request. Ruins of the old stone houses still mark the line of the single street. The circular structure is the old cemetery. The slopes and fields which surround Village Bay like an amphitheatre are rich green, which is reflected by the clear water, so it seems almost as if you are viewing the scene through a green filter. From the village side the hills appear to be rounded, but they have no backs to them and plummet sheer into the sea. Nesting fulmars are tucked into every nook and cranny on the jagged cliffs. They belong to a group of birds called tube noses. The function of the tubes on top of their beaks is to bleed off excess salt from their exclusively seafood diet. Stone storage structures called cleats dot the hillsides. They were used to store harvested birds and eggs, and can be seen all over the island, from remote hilltops to within the village itself. The sheep on the island are a very ancient breed, believed to be descendants from the Neolithic domesticated sheep, and they are left to take care of themselves. Many were shedding their winter coats and looked woefully dishevelled. They could be seen grazing on seemingly inaccessible ledges part way down the cliffs. We took advantage of the amazing weather to visit the other islands and sea stacks in the archipelago. At 1,400 feet, the cliffs are the highest in the British Isles. We passed the island of Soay, where the islanders kept sheep, and crossed the 4 miles from there to the precipitous crags of Borrowray and the adjacent sea stacks of Stack Lee and Stack An Armin, which collectively provide the world's largest breeding colony of gannets. The islanders' whole way of life depended on the millions of birds that breed here. Almost nothing in the way of sustenance was taken directly from the sea itself, and the population lived entirely off birds and their eggs, the collection of which involved perilous climbs up and down the precipitous cliffs. The island group represented the entire world for its inhabitants for thousands of years, and it was only when they started to interact with outsiders in the 19th century that their way of life began to unravel. As if to emphasize how lucky we had been with the weather, we had a rough return passage. We could not help but reflect on the hard life of the people for whom these isolated islands had represented their entire world for thousands of years.